We have breaking news on the terror front. A suspected gunman is dead in Copenhagen. Police say the man is the prime suspect behind two attacks that left 2 people dead and 5 police officers wounded. Chief Foreign Correspondent Terry Moran is in Copenhagen with the very latest. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Martha. Today it is Copenhagen's turn to reckon with the aftermath of terror. We are here at the site of the first of the attacks yesterday afternoon. Right back there, you can see the bullet-riddled glass, the cafe where this began. Danish security had been on high alert, but this attack came without warning. Its apparent targets, however, were grimly familiar: a cartoonist and a synagogue.
For hours, this city was gripped by terror. It began here at around 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon at this Copenhagen cafe, the first target. A gunman opening fire, firing 40 rounds. Police on the scene firing back. Inside, a panel discussion on art, blasphemy, and freedom of expression. Listen as the horror unfolds.
Why do we still say "but" when we...
The host, Lars Vilks, he's a Swedish cartoonist, and he's on an al-Qaeda hit list for drawing the Prophet Muhammad. Vilks, whose bodyguards rushed him into the cafe's kitchen, survived. But a 55-year-old man attending the event was killed.
I'm not sure how many shots, but I'd say about 20 or 30 shots. And people panicked, of course, ran to the doors. Other people were hiding behind the tables they had turned over.
Police launched a nationwide manhunt, releasing this image of a suspect who fled in a stolen car. And then, just after midnight, another shooting spree. This one downtown near a synagogue. 3 people shot, 1 person killed, 2 police officers wounded, and the gunman fleeing on foot. A few hours later, a shootout not far away. Danish police apparently lying in wait for a suspect, and when he arrived, killing him in an exchange of gunfire. Authorities say they believe he was the gunman in both of the early shootings seen on this security video from last night, described as, quote, Arabic-looking, 25 to 30 years old, armed with a machine gun. All of this comes 5 weeks after jihadists struck the offices of the satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo in Paris, killing 12 people there. Revenge, they said, for publishing cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad.
There is now increased security here in Copenhagen, police blanketing the capital, and the investigation continues. A search executed at an apartment in the city, and police pointedly are not ruling out the possibility that this gunman may have had accomplices. Martha?
Thanks, Terry. Let's bring in ABC News contributor John Cohen, former counterterrorism coordinator for the Department of Homeland Security. John, this looks like a copycat killing. I know it's early in the story and it's developing, but is that what it looks like to you?
Well, morning, Martha. The investigation will tell us what the motive was behind this attack. But I think what this attack does tell us for sure is that we have entered a period of new normal. The threat facing communities across Europe, the United States, Canada, is a threat posed by individuals who are inspired by ISIS or al-Qaeda. They have been recruited by ISIS or al-Qaeda, and they're looking to target soft targets. I think what's also disturbing is that these targets have included law enforcement officers, military, the media, and even the Jewish community in attacks such as Toulouse, Brussels, Paris. We have seen military, police, and the Jewish community targeted in each of those cities.
So what do we do about protecting these soft targets? Obviously, you can't protect everything. What do authorities do?
Well, first, we need to understand that local law enforcement plays a critical role, and local law enforcement needs to work more closely with local communities. And what I mean by that is local law enforcement in Europe and the United States need to clearly understand the threat facing the communities that they police. Secondly, they have to work with those communities, whether it be the media, whether it be Jewish facilities, whether it be other commercial entities, to establish security around those locations. We also need to train people working in those facilities and the community to recognize the warning signs of somebody that may be in their community that may represent a threat. And then local law enforcement needs to work with others in the local community to stop an act of violence from occurring.
And you mentioned the Jewish facilities. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu said today that he is calling for a massive immigration of European Jews to Israel because of what he called extremist Islamic terror. Should Jews in Europe be that concerned?
Well, I think we've seen several attacks take place within Europe, and I also know that European law enforcement authorities are reevaluating the way that they work with Jewish communities, particularly across the European Union. There's been a lot of discussions underway since Paris, and I suspect there will be a lot more conversations in the near future. But what this attack does tell us very clearly is police, particularly police in Europe, need to rethink their relationship with the Jewish communities in those cities. It would be a shame if a community of faith had to leave their home because they did not feel safe in the community they may have lived in for generations.
Indeed it would. So thank you very much, John Cohen.